Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider, the most electric show in the 716. Bring you everything sports, everything Buffalo. I think I want to switch that. I like that tagline is so fire, Justin. It is so fire. So, welcome back. I'm KJ Zelzinski, joined with Thomas Bailey, Sarah Terrio, and Justin Cejak. Really excited later in the show because we're going to get Reid in here to talk more about his Fan of the Year 2023 stuff, 26 shirts, and more Buffalo Bills action that's going to be happening on Monday night. But first, let's get into our Sabres recap here against the Hurricanes because it was a pretty tough game. Again, it was almost similar to that Flyers game where nothing happened in the second, but the first and the third is where all the action was. And then all of a sudden, you have they go to OT and then they get scored on. So again, at least they picked up but Sarah, tell me more about kind of like what's happening throughout the game that you saw.
First thing I want to say, since we were away, we haven't won an away game with the Hurricanes since 7 years ago. That's when Skinner was on the Hurricanes. Skinner was on the Hurricanes, and then we had Allmark, we had both O'Reillys, we had Eichel still, and we haven't won since.
Wow. Yeah,
just want to put that out there.
That's why I don't like to think about that. I don't like to think about that.
How today went or how yesterday went, but we looked really slow. I feel like we're always a issue where we start slow, we hit really hard, or we hit really hard and we doubt in the third and we lose. We can never keep a steady, even ground.
Yeah.
But everyone looked really great-ish. Yeah. Clifton's looking a lot better though. I'm really happy with Clifton, surprisingly.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still a little biased about Clifton, but
fair enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, that game was tough to watch. We did start off kind of like
start off good.
We had
exactly.
We were leading the shot 6-1. We had a couple chances really quick into the game with Krebsy on the power play, and even before that, when Clifton got a one-on-one chance. But Antti Raanta had arguably the game of his life right there. Played well. Like the shots don't tell the tale of how many saves that man made and how close this game was. Yeah. But because of the goaltending. Right. These two teams really, despite the shot totals being lower than normal, the game was incredibly close the whole time.
Yeah, I think, again, it was very close. It's almost funny because it's almost like the Bills game where it felt like the defense was really holding on for like the first time in a little bit, especially with everything with the Bills. We'll get into that later. But again, the defense did a great job. It just felt like the offense couldn't produce,
which is kind of shocking to you, right? Because Carolina is one of the better offensive teams in the NHL.
Exactly.
Yeah, we were shutting them down,
and you get a subpar defense like the Sabres, and all of a sudden, whoa, we got a game here. And then you get a high-powered offense like the Sabres, and they fall flat. That's kind of been the theme with Buffalo sports the past decade. You can never have both sides.
What happens. Exactly. It happens a lot with the Sabres, and you guys will get used to it, Like, it just happens a lot. Like, the teams that we shouldn't really play well against, we do. And then the teams that we shouldn't, be that bad, we do the same thing.
I mean, take a look at the Colorado Avalanche game.
Shut them out.
Exactly. The Leafs, and then you go play the Flyers, and you lose in Philly. So it's or at home. But, I don't know. Again, it's just been kind of a confusing season. And especially I wanted to highlight as well, you have Donnie Granato changing up the lineup super frequently, which has been a little bit of a worry. I know injuries and all that are, again, a thing in sports.
That's the main part.
Yeah, but, again, it's just been a lot of – you figure at some point these guys might have chemistry and you'd want to keep them together, but it just seems like nothing's been clicking so far.
It's a long season, right? And you do see a lot of changes frequently throughout the season, but especially early now, it's kind of a point to make, but it's such a long season. I'm not going to put too much stock into it yet because you do have to find that chemistry, and they take so much time off the ice. You got to find it again, right? Yeah,
exactly. I think again, the next time that they do play is versus Minnesota this Friday, and kind of talk to me a little bit about it, about what are we expecting here in this matchup?
Well, Minnesota is kind of middle of the pack in both categories, in offense and defense. They're not the greatest team right now. They're currently on a 2-game winning streak, though, against both the Islanders and the Rangers. So that's fun to see, of course, for them. Marc-Andre Fleury's had a couple really good games despite giving up 4 against the Rangers.
Now he's still
that's crazy.
That stretch save against the Rangers in that shootout was absolutely fun to watch.
Exactly.
Crazy to think that a 38-year-old man can stretch that more than I can.
Yeah, right.
Generational flexibility.
Generational talent there, but I think this game's going to be really close. I think Minnesota's just kind of one of those teams similar to the Islanders where they like to grind out games. Like they get in front early, they just kind of dump the puck, give chase. If they get a couple chances, they kind of force you to make turnovers, and that's the kind of play that they like to stick to. So I feel like the key for Buffalo here is get up early,
Mm-hmm.
start off quickly, get a couple goals, and force Minnesota to get away from their normal game and kind of take them out of their comfort zone.
No, you're right. And Sarah, what if you had to like describe the game in like this upcoming game in one word? What do you think it would be for the Sabres?
What's the word? Anticipated. Like you don't know what's gonna happen because we're so inconsistent. But like last time you mentioned our defense, we blocked 20 shots on the defense.
That was a huge key.
So if you stick
That
to how we
was
played
crazy.
yesterday, I think we might stand a shot.
It's a young team versus a young team. I mean,
Exactly.
There's a lot of
Right.
young players
Don't
on
get
the
any
ice, a lot of
better.
young
Right.
stars on the ice. So it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Should
And
be.
again, that's happening this Friday,
It's also the
7
cancer night
p.m.
as well.
Yes,
That
the
is true. Yeah,
fights
hockey fights
And
cancer.
there's a lot of things going
Again,
on
show up in your
before,
purple.
and there's like a special guest for like her cancer story.
Mhm.
There's your scarf. There's a lot of things going on before the game.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
A lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Make sure
It
to
is
show
at
up
home,
there.
so we're
Yeah.
a little bit worse at
Yeah.
home, but you know.
Hey, that's true. That's true.
I'm
But
hoping we
again,
pull through.
more to see there. Really excited for the Sabres to try to come back and get a good winning record going. But we're going to kick it to a quick commercial. When we do come back, though, it is going to be Del Reid on the show. So stick around. We'll be right back.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's lumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do.
Hi, Lauren. My name is Katie. We're going to take care of you, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider, Buffalo Bills edition now. Thank you, Kayla, for the graphic. And we are joined by Del Reid, Fan of the Year 2020. Give him his flowers, man. Del, congratulations. I kind of wanted to, looking through we all saw the video on Twitter.
Yeah.
That is fantastic what the Bills did for you. Walk me through kind of what was the preface before you got here to the arena? What did they set you up with before you got there?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the invite. So they had me come down a couple weeks ago now, and they said we're doing a little piece about the history of Bills Mafia. We just want you to come in and talk about it some. And I'm thinking, well, I've done that before. You have me talking on camera about that already, but okay, sure, And they said, all right. When I got there, they said, we're gonna have you walk down the tunnel, kind of like the backdrop for what we're doing here. I'm like, all right. Then they say, okay, so we're gonna have you actually run out the tunnel too, because we're doing that with everybody. We're having everybody as a part of this piece run out the tunnel. I'm like, okay. And so they have me do it, and the first time they say, oh, that wasn't good. You gotta do it again, because I guess Stevie wasn't ready or something.
Oh, okay.
Like, okay. So they have me run out. He's like, run out to about the 10-yard line. I'm like, all right. So I run out, as graceful as my 48-year-old unathletic self can. And all of a sudden I hear, Del, you're open. And I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds like Stevie. Wait, that is Stevie. Why is Stevie wearing a jersey? Why is he throwing a football at me? I'm not at the 10-yard line yet. So like all these things are going through my mind. And so, people gave me heck for dropping the pass on Twitter. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, no matter what happens the rest of the way, this is all anybody's going to talk about is me dropping that pass. So that happens. Then he comes out and, he lifts up his jersey and everything and says fan of the year. It was the Bills, credit to the Bills. They made it really special. It was nice.
Now, Del, you mentioned that it was obviously nice to have Stevie there, right beside you in such a memorable moment, obviously at a really cool place. Can you tell us more about your relationship with Stevie Johnson and how it's developed over the years?
Yeah, so Stevie obviously is part of the Bills Mafia origin story with his drop against the Steelers in 2010. We've always kind of like interacted, through those early years of Bills Mafia, but especially since he's retired, he's been around Buffalo a lot more, and I've had the opportunity to to mix it up with him a bunch of times now. He wrote a children's book. I was actually a little bubble in the children's book that they wrote and everything. That's super cool. But yeah, we just, I think we both know that our stories are kind of intermingled, and we get along pretty well. It's really cool because like there's been times when we've been together at different events and sometimes a little chill. And I think it was like last year we were at like a hotel opening event or something, open house. And he came up to me like afterwards, like it was kind of slow. We were both, still supposed to be there, but there wasn't a lot of people around. He starts like picking my brain. He's like, I want to know, what was it like in the Super Bowl years compared to now? Like where people just, it was really cool. Like he's asking me questions. Like normally, like I would say like, dude, what's it like to be so awesome? Like I would be the one asking him questions. So that was kind of cool. Just like little things like that, we've really gotten to interact a bunch over the past couple of years. He's shooting his Exposure Academy video, and he asked me to be a part of that and speak to the kids that he's mentoring and everything. So I love that dude. And like I said, I'm old. I lived through all the Super Bowl years, and as crazy as it sounds, with having watched Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, Darryl Talley, Andre Reid, Stevie's my all-time favorite Bill. So it was really cool that all kind of came together like that.
Yeah, that's an easy choice. I mean, he's got a hell of a personality, and we all love him for that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Of course, man. Of course. So you said that you like Stevie Johnson is your favorite Bill. So what about team? What's your favorite team over the years? Like all-time team? Like we're talking every year. What's your favorite Bills team you've ever watched?
That's a great question. The 1990 team was really special. That first Super Bowl year. The 1991 team was really special too. They were blowing everybody out that year. Maybe it's a little bit of recency bias, but the 2020 season was really special.
So special.
Having gone so many years without a taste of real, true success. Not that, they didn't go all the way that year, but just that whole run up to the AFC Championship, the Bills just like showing up. It felt like out of nowhere. And also, a little personal note, it's 2020. We couldn't go to the games, and at the time, two teenage daughters, and we've watched, the four of us, my wife and the girls, we watched all the games together. We watched almost every single game together. So that was really cool. That was kind of like we just gelled as a family. That's kind of like when my Bills fandom became my daughter's Bills fandom. I should say my wife's and my Bills fandom became theirs. I still remember my daughter was little, my oldest daughter, her asking me like, why do you watch this team if they lose all the time? And I remember telling her, it's because when they're good, it's going to be so good. You'll see someday. And then, you fast forward to 2020, I look over at my oldest right as Taron Johnson is running it back for a pick six against the Ravens, and she's crying because she's so excited and happy. And I was like,
I definitely
got her.
Right.
So yeah, probably 2020 to answer your question.
Oh yeah, super special time. I think again. Looking back at 2020 was crazy. I think we were just talking about that recently on our past show. But kind of back to your the fan of the year stuff. Yeah, you throw out a tweet again with the announcement, thanking your wife, and you say that on the field as well after your quote about that's why I tweeted I don't catch. But how much you attribute this achievement to your family?
Oh, all of it. I would never put myself out like, hey, vote for me for fan of the year. That's not my style. I just don't, but she heard about it back in August or September or whatever it was. And she was a woman on a mission. And so I was like, I'm not sharing it. I'm not posting it. I think I did it twice because she made me. She's like, you have to. I'm doing all this work. Fine. So I shared it, and I said, I think I retweeted it with a quote and said, thanks to everybody who's been, doing this or whatever. It means a lot. But she was hitting up like every other fan that we knew, Bills players. Like she's like lobbying, I think Reid Ferguson, John Fina, Jeff Glor from CBS. I actually grew up with him. CBS This Morning or whatever he's on, CBS News. She's hitting up everybody she could. So she deserves all the credit. She put the work in.
I have a question. You mentioned, obviously, the 2020 season. You mentioned watching those memorable games with your family and then how that kind of almost tightened the bond more with your family through the Bills, right? Now, you being the leader of the Bills Mafia, obviously, or one of the origins of the Bills Mafia, Can you tell me what about the Bills just makes Buffalo connect so much closer than almost any other sports franchise?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's a football town for sure. And, it's not like we're Los Angeles, not like we're in New York City or Miami. I want to say there's nothing going on in Buffalo because there's plenty to do in Buffalo. I'm a huge advocate, when people say there's nothing going on, like BS, and I'll name like 10 different things where you can go and do stuff and experience different things. But that said, the Bills are the one constant, and they're also like Buffalo has a little bit of a inferiority complex when it comes to the rest of the country, I feel like, and the Bills kind of give us that. What's what I'm looking for? They kind of open the door into the national conversation for a city like Buffalo. If there's no NFL team here, I don't think we get thought of probably as much as Toledo does. It's just like we're just a city in the country. Seriously, like, and that's no slam on Toledo or Buffalo for that matter, but they're kind of like our connection to the larger national conversation just in general. So I think that's a part of it. And also football's a great sport. So why wouldn't people be obsessed with the Bills?
Yeah. I could say the same thing for my family and even my friends. It's just going to the tailgates or even just having a party and you order pizza and wings. I can't tell you how much of the past decade of my life has been just that, and I wouldn't ask for it any other way.
Yeah, I think too. Again, we talk about Buffalo being a special city, and I think you are definitely one of the biggest advocates for giving back to the city as much as possible. And again, starting up 26 shirts, I think has been, looking back at it, like a crazy achievement. I don't mean to, like I said, throw this all at you, but seriously, great. Now, really fitting that this Saturday, right, Saturday the 11th, is going to be the 10th anniversary of 26 shirts. What's the journey been like?
Crazy. It's been. It feels like that was 100 years ago when we first started doing this, and it also feels like it was like last week. I remember all the thoughts I had that first week coming together, and I was putting this idea together. All that, like, I remember thinking a lot of those things, like as if I was just thinking of them yesterday, in terms of trying to put everything together to get this thing off the ground. And it also feels like so long ago. It's crazy. It's been an awesome journey. I've met so many people through it. So many awesome families. I always say with 26 shirts, when we meet a family, we're dealing with them at the absolute worst time of their lives. They're going through hell at that point. And so we just want to provide an opportunity to for them to feel like the love of the greater Buffalo community, expats across the country, world. I know obviously the money is great, but I've also heard how good it feels when they're out like months later and somebody's wearing their shirt. It just feels like people care. So it's been awesome. It's been great getting to know. We have a team. For a while, it was like, in terms of the full time, it was me and my business partner at the time, who has another business that he owns. But like, I would go when I started doing this full time. I'd show up to the office by myself for 8 hours and go home. And then now, as the team has grown, now there's 6 full time employees alongside me. It's great to share this experience with them as well too. It's truly a team effort, and none of us can do it by ourselves.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of sharing the experience, there is a anniversary party going on tomorrow. Is that correct? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Thanks for that plug. We are going to have our 10th anniversary party tomorrow night at the Sports 365 Bar and Grill on Genesee Street in Cheektowaga. We're going to have guest bartenders there: Jeremy White from WGR, Kelsey Anderson from Channel 4, Cassie Proctor from 103, and Dan Dunley. It's going to be, it's not just bartenders there. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be a real celebration. We've actually been putting a short film together about the history of Bills Mafia in 26 shirts. Our 8-minute film is going to be about 20 minutes long, I think. At this point, there's just so much great stuff in there. Brandon from Buffalo Above Films has been putting that together, and it's going to be amazing. I got to see some clips from it the other day, and I'm really excited to see it.
As are we, 100%. Really excited about that. And again, we'll plug that later. The people who forget, and it'll show up again. But again, really excited. Let's shift the conversation just for our last little segment here is going to be about looking forward for the Bills. We're all Bills people. Del, you're a Bills guy. So let's look kind of at the Bills matchup against the Broncos this week because, man, I mean, Del, I want to get your thoughts on the Bengals game this past week because I think it's definitely rocked Bills Mafia a little bit harder than it should have.
Yeah, I don't know where you want to start. Where you want to start?
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating. I mean, I'll be honest. I was a little nervous going into that game. The Bengals are really getting their act together as a team. Too bad we couldn't have gotten scheduled against them that first month or so of the season. But it is what it is. The Bills are going through a little bit of an identity crisis right now in terms of, what kind of, their defense is banged up to no end for one. But the offense is like, what kind of offense is this? It's, it's not the Josh Allen show anymore as much as it used to be. So I'm a fan of the Josh Allen show. I'd like to go that route. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. And there's been some really tough wins. Even last year, the second half of last year, I know the Bills went 13-3, but it felt like a 9-7 season with the amount of frustration that was baked into those wins. And I just think I think they're the same team as they were, to the end of the year last year. It's just some of the bounces aren't going their way. I mean, honestly, if Kincaid doesn't fumble that ball, and credit to the Bengals defense, that was such a heads-up play by the defense. I don't blame Kincaid at all. His dude's upside down, and somebody punches out the ball. What are you gonna do? But I mean, a couple different bounces go the other way, and they're in a different situation than they are right now in terms of 8th in the conference.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, I think like I said, it's been kind of breakdown. I think over the past couple of weeks. Wouldn't you say?
It's just we're now in week 10, right, Del? And you can't. It's hard to fathom that ranked so highly offensively in previous years, and even to the beginning of the year, that we're having an identity crisis in week 10. Like, we have to figure this out, and you're not going to make any steps towards success if you don't do that, right? Because the defense is banged up, and they're holding up against obviously elite competition like the Bengals. You can't ask for much more. The offense just has to step it up, point blank period, and we don't really know what that is right now.
Exactly. And Del, in your opinion, kind of what has been the biggest fault of the Bills so far up until this point?
Biggest fault? I don't know. I really miss Josh Allen.
Agree.
I miss him, and I don't know what it is. I tend to think it's basically he's being coached up not to run, not to take the chances. This team performs the best when Josh Allen has it on his back. And it just feels like he hasn't been running as much. He hasn't been taking a lot of those opportunities. How many first downs have the Bills, achieved in the past 3 seasons before this one, where it was just Josh just not seeing what he likes and running for 11 yards and getting the first down? How many first downs have been like that? I've not seen too many of those this season. There's been a few, but it's not been the same. So I really think they just need to let Josh be Josh. And and in terms of the balance, I don't care about a run game. Just go. Let Josh be your run game. Who cares? You don't need to have this balance just for the sake of having balance.
Run game. I mean, come on.
Exactly. Okay. What would you say about kind of like the biggest so far?
There is just no rhythm and consistency. If you look at the offense, Diggs is really the most consistent part of it. And as we just mentioned, Josh Allen doesn't play like the Josh Allen we all came to know and love. He's very conservative now. He's starting to look not slow out of the pocket, but almost hesitant to get out. And exactly. I just think that is one of their biggest faults.
Yeah, and I so badly want to pin it on a beaten and bruised defense, but
they keep holding it together.
They keep holding it together. They held the Bengals to so many punts and
3 points in the second half.
3 points in the second half, and so again, you do hurt with Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White and Daquan Jones not being there, but at the same time, it's they're
haven't
kind of
really
holding up.
Gotten many takeaways either. I think it was something they haven't had an interception since like the game against the Dolphins.
Matt Milano is tied for the lead or the leading interception
Yeah.
getter on the Bills. He hasn't played in
And,
4
like,
weeks.
Yeah, literally,
that's
great stat.
insane.
That's unbelievable. So, Del, looking on to this next Monday then against the Denver Broncos, who are known this season for having 70 points dropped on their heads. Do we think that the Bills win this one, or is it a little too rocky and it's something that needed to be fixed long ago?
No, I think the Bills win this game. I mean, they should win this game. I don't know why they're not coming out of the gate and scoring 35 points as quickly as possible. That should be their goal. Seriously, as their offense, like they should be like, we need to have 35 points by halftime. They have the personnel for it. They have the talent for it. Hopefully, they have the scheme and the game plan for it. But that is within reach for them. And I think that they need to just challenge this Broncos offense and say, keep up with us, and not worry about they're gassing their own defense. So don't so that the Bills are on the field for 3-4 plays, they score. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about giving your defense three. Challenge the Broncos offense to perform.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think again it's just frustrating. It is frustrating to have to go into these weeks against the Denver Broncos and think like, are we going to come out of this one?
The
They
Denver
should.
Broncos
Will they?
were the laughing stock of the NFL, right? But they obviously didn't have the coach. They make the move for Sean Payton in the offseason. That's where it's going to come down to for me this coming Monday night. I want to see Sean McDermott and the coaching staff out-coach Sean Payton. Simple as that, because Dell said it. We have the personnel to get the job done. We just need the game plan.
That's exactly true.
So true. So
Yeah.
true.
Okay, I mean,
Broncos
like-
are on a 2-game winning streak as well.
That's
And
And
one of them
coming
being
off a
against the
bye.
Chiefs. Against the
exactly.
Chiefs of all teams,
yeah.
too, who had beat them 15 times in a row beforehand.
Exactly. Are there any other matchups do you think that we should be on the lookout for this Monday?
I really think one of them is Josh Allen needs to not throw so many interceptions. He leads the league with 9 interceptions. And I don't know, you could brush that off when he was a rookie, but it doesn't look good that he's averaging an interception every single game.
Yeah, definitely not a great look.
That was the Josh Allen we grew accustomed to, right? The big plays, but you're also going to get the bad plays.
But
The only thing is we're not getting the big plays.
Yeah, I was
this
going to
year.
say, if we were
literally.
getting the big plays, and I'd shrug it off, but I can't anymore.
Okay, big picture, Del. We're obviously fan of the year 2023. You get those Super Bowl tickets. Will the Bills make it?
I hope so. I'm not going out to Las Vegas to watch Mahomes do it again or see the Dolphins. I'm not doing that. So it's got to be it's Buffalo or nobody. It's got to be.
And
I want to
agree.
think it's destiny. Being fan of the year, getting to go to the Super Bowl. But I'm sure there's 31 other fans that feel the same way.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some fans that already know. Giants fan of the year, I'm sure, is not feeling too hot right now. But no, I think it's the same thing. I so badly want them to get there, but the question is, will they? And time is running out. It really is.
I don't know if it's realistic anymore. In all
Yeah.
honesty, I really think
Yeah. Well, I trash on you just for fun because Steelers fan, and they're sitting in the wild card right now.
And
it's
that's
just
what I'm saying. Like,
frustrating.
I like that I look at it from more of an analytical perspective. You know how bad it is that the Steelers are more likely to get a playoff spot
It's
than the Bills.
crazy.
Oh,
Like that.
Crazy. It's almost
no,
A
blasphemous.
lot of ball game left.
Losing real.
A lot of ball game left.
So before we head out here, I want to get a score prediction from everybody for this Bills Broncos game. Starting with myself, I'll go first this time. Give me, I want to so badly 31-17 this week.
I can't give them 31. They got to prove to me that they're going to put 31 up, and I just haven't seen that in recent weeks. So I'll give them 24-10 Buffalo.
I got 28-17 Buffalo.
Okay.
you literally read my mind with the 31-17 thing, but because of everything going on, I'm just gonna switch it up. I want to be a little bit different. I'm gonna say I don't think we get there. I think we're gonna say 27-20.
Fair enough. Del?
71-20 because the Bills are better than the Dolphins.
71. Yeah, I was about to say who's 70, 71.
Oh man.
Love it, Del. Hey, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Again, remember that tomorrow is the 10th anniversary party, and we'll have the info right at the bottom of the screen here so you can see it. Del, anything you'd like to say to the people before we head out of here?
No, I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. I know we've been planning it for several weeks now, so thank you for the invite. Enjoyable conversation, and go Bills.
Absolutely. Go
Yes, sir.
Bills
Go
is
Bills.
the word. Thank you for joining us on Buffalo Sports Insider, the most electric show in the 716, bringing you everything sports, everything Buffalo. My name is KJ, joined with Tommy, Kayla, Sarah, and Justin. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great one, guys. Take care.